Okay, so the first question is, do you think you should train Dutch sport horses or thoroughbreds differently than cutting horses?
Well, foundation before specializations. No matter what any horse does, going to do, they need a good foundation. So having a good foundation involves all of the things on the ground that create bonding, obedience, and exuberance, or enthusiasm, number one. Number two is the arena exercises that teach every horse. Doesn't matter what somebody's going to do it. There are certain perfunctory arena exercises that horses need to be able to understand how a human is communicating to them from the saddle. Number three, horses need to live outside and they need to learn to be ridden outside. Every horse, especially dressage horses. And on top of that, every horse needs to have some kind of purpose. He needs to be ridden in such a way, whether it's opening a gate, whether it's to travel across the country, whatever it is, the horses need to know that there's a purpose. So the point of it is that it doesn't matter what breed of horse, what everything's going. So let's give an example of humans. If somebody has a child, they're going to, I hope he's going to be a doctor, so let's not, or no, he's going to be a soccer player. So let's not worry about learning how to read and write. We don't need all that stuff. We just need him to play soccer. So this is what we call addiction to linear thinking. So the real secret is like a pyramid, build big foundation, headed toward that specialization.
So this question is about trailer loading. This person has a horse that is loading quite well. She can load it and then put the bar, but standing still is kind of where the horse is getting tense and pawing, and it's not super extreme, but it's not calm. So do you have any tips how to train that?
Horses are born skeptics, cowards, claustrophobics, and panicaholics by nature in various degrees. So a trailer is naturally, easily a place for horses to be claustrophobic. Some horses really have trouble being in a stall even. So the stall, a trailer in a way is nothing more than a moving stall. So if the horse is comfortable in a stall, that would be step one. Step two is I would take and tie something from the top of the roof in the middle of the stall, teaching horses to stand still or other places. So number one, it's a two-part story. It's not just the trailer, it's this standing and being tied at the same time. So oftentimes horses need to learn to be tied for long periods of time, and they also need to learn how to stand in a small box. So the other thing is that trailer loading is just a piece of, there's trailer loading, there's traveling, there's trailer unloading. Those are the three parts of the story, transporting horses. So the number one secret is to play with your horse until he sees the trailer as refuge. He sees the trailer like he sees the barn, like, oh boy, I get to go in there. And what I do oftentimes is I do 80%, get the horse to want to go in there, and out of respect and understanding, then I do 20%, oh boy, that's where I get to have my breakfast. That's where I get to have my lunch or my dinner. And you'll be surprised how many horses, once they know, but you have to do it every day. You can't do it once every 2 weeks. You have to do these things 7 to 12 times in a row. And pretty soon the horse goes, oh, that's going to be my new daily routine. The challenge is people only they wait till they're late for the show or the trail ride, and then they go try to load the horse, or the vet. Then they go try to load the horse in the trailer. So again, it's creating a program that the horse understands and loves to go to the trailer. He sees it as a moving smorgasbord.
How can I get my horse to be calm in his stable when I am out with my other horse?
This is something that plagues people all over the world. And horses are herd animals, and so their security comes from being with another animal, okay? But like anything, horses can habituate and can learn how to be separated. So where people get in trouble is they keep the horses together all the time until they want to use them. So what we do on a regular basis is every day the horses come in and we separate the horses. We put them in different stalls. We tie them in different places. We have them all over the place and we mix it up a lot. So consistency is a great teacher. Variety is the spice of life. So this is kind of a thing to be consistent about your variety. And I think that's one of the biggest things. And I think, most horses never get tied up except for when they're being groomed and saddled. My horses oftentimes are on high ties, we call it a high tie, in the stall or even to a tree or in between trees for 3 or 4 hours every day. It's just a normal thing. So again, horses are like computers. They may never do what we want. They'll always do what we tell them or what we program them to do. So we program them to be with their other horse all the time, except for when we use them, then you got to expect them to get upset.
When do you think a horse is ready to be saddle broke?
When do I think a horse, first of all, when do I think a horse should be saddle broke? It all depends of the breed and the different types. So there's a little bit of thing there. But when should a horse have pre-saddle training? Immediately. So like, let's say that a horse is 6 months old and he's weaned. There's lots of things we can do that we call pre-saddle training, pre-ride training. Let's call it pre-ride training. And that's teaching horses to do things on the ground. They can, even just wearing a stable blanket sometimes helps horses. We can put a little bareback pad on so they get used to the girthing when they're a yearling. There's a lot of things we can do. So I'd rather think about preparation. And then to answer that question more specifically, what we do is we start our horses when they're, say, 24, 30 months old, ride them for a couple of weeks, then turn them out for 3 or 4 months. Ride them for a couple of weeks, turn them out for 3 or 4 months. That's the usual way, or I think the most natural way for horses, so we don't stress the joints or any of that stuff. The worst thing we can do is, the 2 worst things we can do is too much too early, or wait until they're 4 or 5 years old and they're huge and they're big and
exactly.
They have no, they're acting like wild animals. So somewhere in the middle is really the right answer.
After so many years of experience, does horse behavior still surprise you?
Horses are the most fascinating animal on the planet as far as I'm concerned. They're nature in its finest form. Every horse has his own personality based on 4 things: innate characteristics, their breeding, environmental influences, learned behavior from people and from other horses, and their spirit. So yeah, horses are fascinating. They're like snowflakes. They look a lot alike, but they're complete individuals. And every once in a while you get some that really have some opinions that are really surprising. Of course, we humans, we want horses to be calm and smart and brave and athletic and to do what we want when we wanted to. But horses are prey animals, and they're born skeptics, cowards, claustrophobics, and panicaholics by nature in various degrees. And so where we get in trouble is we go out and ride our 4-wheeler or a motorcycle, and we expect our horse to do the same. We just add the gas and pull on the brakes, do whatever, make a sharp turn and do it like we want. But that's not the way it goes. So, am I still surprised? Absolutely, here or there. But never say never, don't always say always, usually say usually. And by following a great blueprint, we're using communication, understanding, and psychology, love, language, and leadership instead of mechanics, fear, and intimidation. It amazes me how quickly horses will give you their heart, and horses will run faster and jump higher out of heart and desire.
Yeah, absolutely. And the next one is, what is your favorite thing to do with horses?
What is my favorite thing to do with horses? My favorite thing to do with horses is to get the feeling that they give me when they want to be with me. It's not a sport, it's not a job or an endeavor. I love everything. I've had everything from miniature horses to giant draft horses. I've plowed fields, I've done hay, I've played polo, I've ridden dressage, I've jumped 6'6", which in meters I don't know what that is. It's more than $1.60 m, I know that. I've done wonderful things. I've swam horses, I've been in the mountains with horses, but it's when the horses want to be with you.
Yeah.
That's my favorite thing.
Yeah, the relationship.
Mhm.
This is a question that I really like. How do you think we can build a bridge to add more language of the horse into the classical dressage world?
Well, this is a great question, but let's understand what the word dressage means. It's a French word, and the unconjugated verb of dressure means to dress up, to take to the highest level. But dressage actually is not specifically only to horses, it's high-level animal training. So there is high-level animal training on the ground, and there's high-level animal training in the saddle, and there's high-level animal training for sport. So the word dressage is not just a sport word. And I think if you'll read with Charles de Comfy, who's a great dressage master, he has a book called Dressage Questions Answered. He said there's two types of dressage. There's dressage, the training scale, which has rhythm, relaxation, contact, schwung, straightness, and collection. And then there is the sport of dressage. So to really get the real answer, what we have to really think about is, what does dressage mean, and how do we understand that the classical way to train horses is on the ground first. Go to Vienna and see how they train their horses on the ground first, how they put get them doing the maneuvers without the rider on, then finally a passenger as a rider, and then finally someone who's riding and guiding with the reins. So this classical is a debatable word, but I think if we said modern, maybe we'd say what people are doing today in sport.
Yeah, sports world. I think that's what she's talking about.
In the sports world, then again, it goes back to foundation before specialization. And I think so many people don't understand that horsemanship is the perpetual and progressive series of habits and skills that both horses and humans need to become partners. That's the cake. Then we put the icing. The training is like going to college. So just think about taking your 18-year-old or 20-year-old child, never giving them any education, but now they're old enough to go to college to be a doctor. It's not going to work. And so again, the attrition rate in the sport industries is very, very high in all sport industries. Racing, jumping, dressage, the Western sports, it doesn't matter. It's very high because the addiction to linear thinking and not putting a foundation on horses before specialization. Natural horsemanship is not tricks, it's real horsemanship. And it's putting the non-predatory approach to horses to help them become our partners.